Welcome to another deep dive, and today we're looking at The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson.
Ooh, a classic.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to kind of dig into how it, well, it's a haunted house story, but not really, right?
Right, from the start, it's not your typical family moves into a creepy house setup.
Yeah, like you think ghosts, you think, oh, spooky Victorian mansion, family doesn't know, blah, blah, blah.
Well, this time we've got a doctor. He's obsessed with proving, actual paranormal stuff exists.
Oh, interesting. So he's not running from it, he's running to it.
Exactly. Rents Hill House specifically to study, psychic phenomena.
So he's bringing people with him then, not just him alone.
Well, yeah, he's got a whole group, assistants, and they all have, their own weird experiences in the past.
Okay, so there's already, this kind of layer of unease built in with each person.
Yeah, they all come with baggage.
But even then, the house itself, the way Jackson describes it, it's almost like its own character.
Totally. Not just a setting. And it's not jump scares, it's the atmosphere, the way she describes the architecture.
It's unsettling, right? The angles are wrong, rooms are off center. It messes with your head.
Exactly. Like that line, hold on, I wrote it down. It was not a place to come back to.
Ooh, I remember that.
Not a place one would expect to find. Hill House waited, and the sound of the waiting was silence.
So creepy. It's like the house has a personality, almost like it's, I don't know, alive and waiting.
Predatory, even.
And there's that part later where Eleanor, she's one of the assistants, she describes the house as having a face, like it's awake and watching.
Yeah. And those spirals and circles she keeps using in the descriptions, like you're trapped.
Physically and mentally.
Right. Like spirals, you think of going down, 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 losing control.
And being watched. That's primal, right? Anyone gets freaked out feeling like someone's staring at them.
Makes you vulnerable. You're supposed to be safe in a house, not constantly on edge.
And you were saying about the assistants, they've all got their issues. But Eleanor, she seems particularly drawn to Hill House.
Yeah, she needs to be there. But she's got this whole, sadness to her. She took care of her sick mother for years, really isolated.
So she's craving connection. Wants a place, a home, maybe even a family.
But that makes her vulnerable, The house can latch on to that.
Use it against her. It's like it senses what scares her, what she wants, and twists it.
Like that part, remember? She touches the wall, feels that cold spot.
Yeah, no one else feels it, just her.
A touch of evil. Reaching out to her alone, chilling.
It's the subtle stuff that gets me. Not ghosts jumping out, but that slow creep of fear.
Exactly. Something's wrong, but you don't know what. That's Jackson's horror, psychological. The house gets in your head.
Not like your typical ghost story at all.
Nope. This is about the house itself, the atmosphere, and how it breaks the people inside it. It's not just Eleanor either. Everyone there, the house kind of gets to them differently.
Oh yeah, they all have those weaknesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
What about Theodora? She seems pretty tough at first.
Right, all confident. But even she, it's like she wants to be special, noticed.
So the house plays on that.
Yeah, like that weird writing on the wall, remember? It was addressed to her.
Yeah, but wasn't she still freaked out by it?
Oh, totally. But there's almost this enjoyment, too. See, I'm the important one. The house is talking to me.
It's giving them what they want, but in this twisted way.
Exactly. And Dr. Montague, he's so obsessed with proving the paranormal, he can't see the danger.
Blind ambition, right? He's brought these people into this messed up situation.
And his wife, Grace, she's the opposite. Super skeptical about everything.
But didn't even she start getting weirded out eventually?
Yeah, at first she's the voice of reason. Then the house, it starts chipping away at that.
So no one's immune, basically.
Nope.
Yeah.
Then you've got Luke showing up. The heir to Hill House adds a whole other layer.
Oh, right. He's tied to the house's history, whether he likes it or not.
And he tries to act like the whole ghost thing is nonsense, but you can tell something's off with him, too.
He's almost haunted by the house, even before anything really happens.
Yeah, and as they're all spending more time there, it gets harder to tell what's real, what's the house messing with them.
Like that picnic scene, right?
Mm-hmm.
So creepy. But is it actually happening, or are they all hallucinating?
Exactly. Jackson's great at that. Planting those seeds of doubt. Could be the house, could be their minds.
Makes you question your own senses reading it.
And that's scarier than some ghost jumping out, because it's what can you trust?
And it just gets more and more unsettling. Noises, the cold spots, people feeling like they're being touched.
But she never outright says, yep, there's definitely ghosts doing this. It's left to you to imagine.
Which, of course, makes it worse, because your brain fills in the blanks.
That's the point. It's tapping into those primal fears we all have. The dark, being alone, not knowing what's out there.
But it's also smart, right? It makes you think about why these people are so scared. Their own baggage, their issues.
Oh, definitely. It's not just a ghost story. It's about how people break down, how fear affects them.
And the way she uses the senses, the descriptions, you feel like you're in Hill House, that coldness, that feeling of being watched.
It's the atmosphere she creates. The words aren't just describing, they're making you feel it.
And that repetition she does, like with Eleanor's name on the wall. Nellie, Nell, Mel.
Ugh, so creepy. Like the house is claiming her or mocking her. You don't even know which.
It's both intimate and threatening at the same time.
And it makes you think, is this inevitable? Is she doomed from the moment she steps inside?
And oh man, that scene with the planchette, the whole trying to talk to spirits thing, you can feel the tension building.
Everyone huddled around, scared, but also kind of excited, and the planchette moving, spelling out these weird messages.
And it keeps focusing on Eleanor, right? Like the house is using it to single her out.
Yeah, and you're never quite sure, is it the house talking through the planchette, or are the characters doing it themselves without realizing?
It's all connected. Their fear, the house, their minds, you can't separate it.
And as it goes on, their relationships fall apart too. Eleanor gets more isolated, Theodora pulls away.
Like the house is driving them apart.
Yeah, even Dr. Montague, he's so focused on his research, he doesn't see what's happening to them.
So it's not just about being scared of ghosts. It's about how that fear makes you act, how it changes you.
And how it breaks down the connections you have with other people.
I feel like Jackson's really good at that slow burn, that building of tension. You know something bad's going to happen.
And she drops these little hints along the way, like those lines about the house being unfit for people to live in for years.
Foreshadowing, right. It makes it more disturbing because you're kind of waiting for the other shoe to drop.
It's like she's saying, this place is bad news, and it's only a matter of time before it gets them.
And then she uses those images, those descriptions of the house, the angles, the darkness. It's like the house is a monster itself.
It's like those images get under your skin. Crooked, off balance, you feel it viscerally, not just intellectually.
It's like the house is reflecting their minds, you know. As they get more messed up, the house seems to get worse.
And she's a master of pacing. Like, she knows when to let the tension simmer and when to just hit you with something terrifying.
And the way she writes dialogue, it's all fragmented, people interrupting each other, these weird silences.
It's like their thoughts are all jumbled up. They can't even communicate properly anymore.
Like the house is disrupting their thinking, making it harder to connect.
And then there's the point of view, mostly from Eleanor, so we're seeing everything through her eyes. But she's unreliable.
Right, because she's getting more and more unstable. So you're never sure, is this real? Is she imagining it?
It's unsettling because you get pulled into her head, but then you have to step back and wonder, how much of this can we trust?
And then, bam, the climax.
Yeah.
Eleanor completely loses it, and the house basically claims her. It's heartbreaking and so ambiguous.
It is. Like, did the house make her go crazy? Or was she always headed that way? Did she choose this, or was it forced on her?
It's a question that sticks with you. That's what makes this book so good. It's not just scares, it's about those big questions.
About fear, about sanity, about the line between the two. And that's terrifying because it's something we all have to deal with.
So it's more than just a haunted house. It's about the haunted house inside us.
Yeah, the stuff we try to bury, ignore. What happens when that stuff gets out? That's what Jackson makes you think about.
It's funny, right? Like the ending, it's almost like those old Gothic novels, even though the rest of the book is so different.
Yeah, you're right. It has that classic vibe, the woman trapped in the creepy house, meeting a bad end. But with Jackson, you never know for sure why.
Right. Was it the house that did it, or was it Eleanor herself? Did she give in, or was she taken?
That's what makes it so powerful, that open question. It's like the line between sane and crazy, it can be so thin.
And sometimes the scariest monsters aren't out there. They're in us.
Exactly. And she's dropping hints all along, like that nursery rhyme that keeps popping up. Little Nell lost her way.
It's like a prophecy, almost. You feel like you know what's coming, but it's still so sad when it happens.
And those little repeated things, those motifs, they make it feel like it's not just random. This is part of Hill House, part of its history.
Like a pattern repeating itself. And the house, it's not just a house, right? It's a symbol of all that stuff inside the characters.
Oh yeah, those crooked angles, the dark corners. It's their messed up perceptions, their fears, all made physical.
Like the house is a mirror of their minds, their psyches. And you were saying even the characters themselves are like symbols.
Eleanor, she's that desperate need to belong, to be accepted.
And Theodora, she wants attention, to be seen as special, even if it's dangerous.
And Dr. Montague, he's all about knowledge, but it's almost like he wants it too much. It blinds him.
So it's about all of us, right?
Yeah.
Those parts of ourselves we try to hide, what happens when they take over.
That's why this book sticks with you. It's more than just, ooh, ghosts. It's about being human and all the messiness that comes with it.
And the way she does it, the atmosphere, the questions she leaves you with, you never forget it.
It's a masterpiece because it's subtle. Real horror isn't about jump scares. It's about the stuff that gets under your skin and stays there.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into the haunting of Hill House, what about you? What's lurking in your Hill House?
Ooh, that's a good one. The fears, the things we push down. Maybe it's time to shine a light on them.
Because sometimes facing those inner demons, that's the bravest thing you can do. And who knows? Maybe that's how we keep from becoming another Eleanor, lost in our own personal Hill House.